Hello and welcome into the RotoWire Esports Show. I'm Andrew Laird, joined as always by Ethan Sexton, today to talk about Friday's two-game LCK slate. Ethan, we had a game stack today that took it down. I thought it was going to be a one-off day, and it wasn't. And
Nope.
I guess we could take credit for that we thought it would be this game, so that's good at least, right?
Yeah, I mean, we called that element of it, I guess. That if there was going to be a game stack that paid off, it would be that HLE versus Red Force series, and that's how it worked out. But I certainly wasn't going that route, so I'm not going to take too much credit.
I did not play it, so I obviously did not do well today. Although today was one of those slates where I got almost all winners, and then it didn't even matter because you needed the points from Gen G just did exactly what we worried they would do and just sleptwalked to victory.
Yep, yep, yeah. They just didn't have to do too much to get by today, and it looked like they were going to lose that game too, but Afrika ended up just kind of coughing it up, and then Gen G just closed it out pretty simply in both games, which is sort of their MO. They're one of the more straightforward teams, so we were kind of we were right but wrong at the same time, I guess is how we can put it, right? We figured that the HLE Red Force series was going to be the one with the higher point totals, and maybe Gen G scored a little lower, but neither one of us profited off of some of that sage wisdom.
What I thought was kind of interesting is the lineup, at least in whatever I entered. It actually did have a one-off. It was the HLE Red Force game stack, but they used Gen G team slot, which when you have the salary makes perfect sense when you're doing
Yep.
that because you don't have to worry about it. So I guess it was really just a 3-3-1. But the captain was Diokdam, so captain from the losing team, and still able to take it down. But I looked at his stats and was like, oh, yep, that's going to pay off pretty well.
Yeah, I mean they got 28 kills in that opening game, and that made it pay off, much like what we saw yesterday, where KT was the losing team, but you needed them in your lineup. So it's been a frustrating couple days, man.
He had 13 kills in game one. Deft and Peanut were the only other players to have at least or have more kills than that in the entire series. Just crush that first game.
Yep.
We move on to Friday's slate, which is much closer than anything that we've seen this week, although not any more exciting if if that's how you want to go. We also have the wonderful lineup issues that can crop up anytime T1's on the slate. But we've got KT favored against Fredit Brion, and then T1 favored against DRX. No overwhelming favorites, but they're both favored. That's all. So playing a KT T1 stack is not super easy if you want to use a carry as a captain. First off, do you think those two teams should be favored? And if so, do you think either underdog makes sense as a potential target?
Yeah, I think both of those teams do deserve to be favored, for sure. KT really haven't been playing very well, but I guess we should talk about with KT, they're bringing in they brought up Noah and Gideon from their academy lineup, and Blank and Bonnie are gone from the jungle, while Hybrid is still on the roster. But I think it's safe for us to assume that since they brought Noah in, he's going to start. I don't know as much about Noah as I do about Gideon, and I don't know a lot about Gideon either, to be perfectly frank. But I do know that he is a touted prospect. He was in Griffin's academy system. If people remember Griffin from guys like Chovy and all those guys where they came from, one of the best teams a couple years ago before they had some internal issues. And their academy, along with T1, is known in Korea as being one of the best. So anytime you see a guy coming from T1's academy or Griffin's academy, they're usually a pretty good player. So I do know that Gideon is he's at least a very touted, highly anticipated prospect. Haven't seen him play, to be honest, so it's hard to say exactly what we're going to get. But Bonnie was just kind of a guy. and Blank is really on the downswing of his career. So I think we can kind of view this as an upgrade, in my opinion. And then, Hybrid hasn't been playing that poorly. So I don't know if Noah's going to be a drastic improvement or not, to be honest. I'm not 100% sure. So that's kind of a wait and see in the 80 carry role. But them doing these moves makes me feel a little bit better about their team in this series, because I think otherwise, we could kind of look at this series and say, well, it's between – this could have been one of those where it's like, well, it's between two bad teams. Why not just go with the cheaper team, even though you're not getting a ton of salary savings? Yeah. So Fred and Breon are still probably a live underdog, especially coming off that sweep yesterday where they just crushed Sandbox, who Sandbox is doing some roster moves now, but we'll hit on that next time they play. So Fred, I think we got to say Fred and Breon are live a little bit, so it can't really fault anyone if they want to go there as well, But I think for that series, I'm going to lean KT. I think as long as Gideon has had time to integrate with the rest of the team a little bit before they get on stage, which I'm sure he has. I think KT should be the favorite, but series could go either way. So it's a tough one to call. And then, we look at T1 DRX. We know T1 should be better than their record. They're only a 500 team right now. They've been pretty frustrating this year, but it's hard not to say that they should be favored over DRX. Just a better lineup top to bottom, but at the same time, it's like, do you really feel great, like 100% confident that they're going to come out 2-0 smash? No. Would it shock anyone if they lost? No, because they've already, lost series like this in the past. So, and that makes it tough too. At least the good thing with T1 is they play the 3 o'clock series. So we're going to know the lineup as long as you're willing to wake up early and get on Twitter and look around. So that's a good thing at least. But, yeah, I think T1 deserved to be favored there, but it's just like it's kind of like today. Like, do you feel that confident in any of these teams right now? I really don't. But I think both those teams deserve to be the favorites.
You think KT brings in both kids?
I'm going to assume so. Now, I think Gideon for sure. He's the only jungler in the player pool on DraftKings, so it looks like he's pretty certain. I'm assuming that Noah's going to start because Wilds bring him up from Academy. But it's not the most, like, I haven't seen anything, like on Twitter or anywhere that confirms he's going to start tomorrow, and they're the late series. So there's a little bit of risk in that 80 carry role, but I think we have to assume that Gideon is for sure starting since they took both Blank and Bonnie straight out of the player pool.
Right.
And they did get demoted to the Academy roster, so that makes me feel better too. Whereas everything I've seen with Hybrid is he's still on the roster. He just might not be starting.
Right.
So the assumption is that since they brought Noah up, he's going to start, but who knows?
So we saw, we bring this up every time Fred Breon's on the slate that, like, win or lose, they just don't really score that much. Coming off a sweep, they now are averaging 9 kills per game. Like,
right.
After a sweep.
The first game yesterday was good, right? They got to 23, but that was with Sandbox getting to 17. So it was they got some resistance they had to overcome, and that helped them get their kill total up. But then in game 2, Sandbox only put up 3, and Fred Breon only needed 13 to win. So, man, it's a frustrating thing, like, because it's like even if you play them and they come out with a win, is it going to be enough? It's hard to say. Both these series. These series are just gross, man. like these 2-game LCK ones. It's just like, do you feel good about anything? I really don't. Even like Damwon, who's 8-1. We talked about it, for yesterday. They're 8-1, but like they're not. They don't look that good, right? Like they're not playing that well. It's just, I don't know. Everything about Korea right now just is. It's frustrating. It's really hard to analyze because we've seen a lot of upsets, but even in the upsets, teams are scoring like crap. And I don't know. It's just kind of a frustrating thing. I think we just need China back, right? So we're getting there. But
do you think, like, I want to say that Fred at Breon will be somewhat popular just because they're cheaper, like T1 and Fred at Breon, which, like, I don't want to say that you should play DFS and build lineups just for fun, but like there's nothing fun about T1 Fred at Breon.
No.
but like it's very much in the cards that KT just blasts Fred at Brion. Like we don't really think that they're that good, and KT sporadically has these big games. I mean, KT's averaging more kills per game than every team on the slate, like including
Right.
T1, who has played 2 fewer games anyway. So with that idea, do you think a lot of people try to do more KT DRX because, or just KT T1? But like, do you think the KT, like today's slate, we were talking about like HLE was going to most likely outscore. Who was the one on the slate today? Damwon? No.
No, I've completely
Gen
blanked
G.
as well. Gen G. See,
Gen G.
It was so exciting we forgot already.
But we were confident that like if HLE and Gen G won, that HLE would be the higher scoring team, and they were more expensive and they were the higher scoring team.
Yep.
It feels like if you knew that KT and T1 both win, that you probably should just grab KT.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with you there. I think too, like, it's just T1 are another team where like they just sometimes play a more straightforward. We're gonna win through objectives, and we don't need a ton of kills. They can certainly put up some high kill totals, but it feels like the series to target is going to be that KT Fred at Brion one. I feel like that's like today's HLE slate or HLE series where that one seems like the one that's going to have the higher kill total. So maybe you want to build your whichever team you're thinking of, maybe you want to end up building your long stacks with either KT or Fred at Brion. And I think KT are only the most expensive in 2 out of the 5 player roles. So that gives you a little bit of salary relief too. If you go 4 there, maybe you can, fit a little bit of a better lineup that way. So I think that's the series I would look at when I'm starting my lineups and building my long stacks. It just feels like that's the one where whoever wins is going to come out. It's like kind of counterintuitive though, because we're talking about Fred at Brion. They don't usually score very well, even in wins. But to me, that series just feels like that's the one. But I don't know. It's hard to say. It just feels like, to me, it feels like even though T1 haven't been playing that well, I'm not sure that DRX can offer enough resistance. Like, if I was going to play T1 DRX, I think like if I was going to build a long stack from that, I think I'd just build the long stack with DRX maybe and hope for a major upset. I don't know. It's just tough, man. These 2-game slates are tough, especially when I don't really feel that confident in any of the teams.
Right. Well,
it just makes it difficult for sure.
Yeah, the T1 lineup stuff is just awful because like even if you get the starting lineup right, if they drop game 1, like they could definitely just switch up from there. But I was starting to wonder like if KT is today's HLE, and not that like today's slate has any bearing on tomorrow's, but like if you like, I don't even want to play a KT Fred at Brion game stack with a T1 like team one off
team slot.
Like
no.
the nice thing about the T1 team one off is you're getting those points. There's no lineup uncertainty, but like I'm actually wondering if DRX score more in a loss than Fred at Brion score in a loss, so that like the KT DRX could work either if DRX win or lose. And obviously it doesn't work if T1 just smashes them. But like,
right.
It's almost like you could, if you're game stacking, you're obviously picking a team that's going to lose. But maybe DRX is actually the higher scoring losing team.
Yeah, we could see that, right? We could definitely see that. I mean, it worked yesterday. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. It's just like the game stack appeal is like, I never like it anyway, and I was proven wrong today, of course. But it's just like it's even less appealing tomorrow because Fred at Brion just don't score well in wins. So what are they going to score in losses? Like they're not going to score enough. It just doesn't feel like they're going to score enough points to make a game stack viable. But I'm the guy that doesn't like game stacks at any time. So what do I know?
I'll at least point out that T1 is averaging more deaths per game. Oh no, I'm sorry. They're the fewest deaths per game. Like obviously we don't expect DRX to win, but
no, I don't. But it wouldn't be surprising.
Right.
I guess is what I would say.
Right. It feels more just like one of those if we're talking tomorrow and we're like, yeah, DRX won, and you're just like, yeah, that can happen, as opposed to like when Fred at Brion beat Damwon, which I'm glad we fit that into another video.
Yes. Can't go slate without talking about it.
Right. The streak continues.
Yep.
Next up, Cal Ripken. Yeah, I think that's all you can say about this slate.
Yeah. Short and sweet. It's just like it makes it challenging to me to talk about them because I don't feel passionately about any of these teams. So it just makes it like sort of like here's what I think's going to happen.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if this happened though, but so I guess I'm not offering a ton of clarity, but it's just like topics for people to think about as they're building their lineups.
Right. Yeah, I don't think there's anything like glaringly missing that like this is what you need to focus on, but it's it's 2-game LCK slate with fairly close teams. Like this is it.
It
we'll
is
China back
is.
on Monday. We're getting there. It's just these are the steps you take in order to get the better slates. That's all.
Yep.
If you guys have liked all of this fantastic information that we keep passing along, if you could please hit the like button below and feel free to subscribe to all the RotoWire videos. If you'd like to try out RotoWire subscription, you can get 10 free days to the site at rotowire.com/pod. That's POD. No credit card required, and you get access to our Discord chat as well, which is open for all subscribers and covers or includes conversations on pretty much every sport that's going on right now. So feel free to check that out. Ethan, thank you for that, and good luck on Friday.
All right, man. We'll catch you tomorrow.